What you can see is several artworks positioned all over the ground floor of the building, which used to be like the, let's say, heart of the Pakhuisje, so of the gay sauna with the jacuzzi in the middle and saunas on the side. From the start I was interested in the relationship with the neighborhood, because it was just strange to have this building with blocked windows and so obviously trying to pretend there is nothing going on, but because of it being very visible, I guess, especially to people living nearby. So the first thing I did was to knock at the doors of the neighbors, who mainly composed of very middle-class families, which I expected. Also a very typical building with big glazed windows where you can observe what's inside, so much contrasting with what's going on the other side. So it was an interesting start to have this external view, which was sort of representing more my point of view, as I had no clue what was going on. But then when I got into interviewing the sauna users, it turned out that actually people who attended the place most of the time, at least again, in the whole project I refrained from taking any position and actually giving any conclusions. But there was this sensation of normality in a way that the people who went here shared a lot and weren't shy about it, and this was great to be able to face this level of and penetrate this level of intimacy. So this was very, very important for me. I feel there are so many ways to approach reality, to filter it and to produce something that thanks to having alter egos I can also not only have an excuse for having different styles, but because it's not something arbitrary, but I can have a frame, let's say, for a certain style. So I can say that tiles are made by Beati and then completely immerse myself in the way she would make it. So let's say use a more primitive, more art brut way of depiction, and it's something close to me just as a person of Beati, or I can make a more humoristic and perhaps violent rap song, which is also part of me.
Ik heb een installatie gemaakt op de tweede verdieping van houten schrootjes. Een soort golvende gewelven. En die functioneren eigenlijk als gewelven voor de televisies. Voor de schermen waar een film op te zien is die ik tijdens de residentie heb gemaakt, maar in een bedrijf heb gemaakt. Een bedrijf die instrumenten produceert om weersomstandigheden mee te meten. En specifiek heb ik een film met hun windtunnel gemaakt. Hij werd gebruikt om windsensoren mee te kalibreren. En ik heb voorgesteld of ik een ontmoeting mocht hebben met die windtunnel. En informatie te onttrekken en of eigenlijk loze informatie te produceren over dat object. Hoe die klinkt als je erop tikt. Hoe die zou klinken als die zichzelf zou aanraken. En vervolgens had ik een pak genaaid die heel erg op dat object leek, met dezelfde kleur hoed. Allemaal manieren om eigenlijk toegang te krijgen tot wat het object is, zonder zeg maar op de aan-knop te drukken. En de windtunnel was misschien het eerste werk waarbij ik heel erg vanaf een soort van nulpunt ben begonnen. Namelijk met een vraagstuk van, maar wat betekent het überhaupt om bij zo'n bedrijf naar binnen te gaan en met een machine of met in een werkplaats te zijn, zonder dat je de functionaliteit daarvan betrekt in je verhaal. Uiteindelijk werd dat een heel erg beetje fonetisch en tactiel tactiele ervaring en ook de film is zo geworden. En dat hele tactiele en relationele wat ik aanga op dat moment met die machine, dat verwijst ook best wel weer naar de geschiedenis van deze sauna. Waar mannen dan kwamen om mogelijke relaties met elkaar aan te gaan, mogelijk niet. En elkaar eventueel aan te raken. En op die manier een soort van informatie te verzamelen over elkaar. Misschien is het ook een soort van speculatieve emancipatie van de machine-operator relatie. Wat eigenlijk de enige relatie lijkt te zijn die er bestaat tussen de machine en de persoon.
We're sitting right now in 3 Delvers, which is a project I made here on the residency, and it consists of 3 prints, large-scale prints on Tyvek, which are hand drawings made by me which depict scenes from various stages of the process of anatomical modelling, but rendered through in the style of a topographic dungeon map from Dungeons and Dragons. And in addition to this, I'm also showing a film which depicts a game played between me and a medical illustrator called Anna Sieben, in which we're trying to build an anatomical model together, but through the process of the game, new details are constantly being introduced which involve the building we're in right now. My practice often deals with established models of comprehension or ways of analyzing and depicting very complex systems. So I often work with scientists or lawyers or people with a kind of professionalized area of knowledge that deals with very complex or sensitive subjects, and then I use role-playing game methodology and various other means to access that knowledge that they have, but then also somehow distort it or complicate it, because I'm interested in these processes for simplifying or kind of making comprehensible very complex things, and that are so established that they've reached a point where they're kind of not really questioned anymore. And then what I think the role-playing game can do by kind of inviting people to join me in playing games where we explore their methods of analysis is it can throw up a lot of unexpected consequences or inconsequential details that somehow estrange these processes from the people who are used to using them. So while I was here in Groningen, I, through a series of coincidences, stumbled across a medical illustrator called Anna Sieben, who works for the university hospital, and she builds medical models and diagrams for doctors to learn how to do operations and to learn about afflictions of the body. And she does this through 3D modeling but also 2D illustration. So in the film I'm kind of bringing in information about the ways that people behaved in the building in terms of like certain structural elements of the building that Anna is trying to then kind of manipulate into the model that she's making. You can see in the film that she's putting in these coffee cups and tables and things that were part of the building. And then in the drawings I made versions of all the tiles, because obviously this was a sauna, there's a lot of like tiled flooring everywhere, and I put those tile patterns into the images as well as some of the flooring within these hypothetical structures that are being described in the images. I then installed everything in the attic, which is where the pumps for the building are. So in this space you're very aware of the kind of infrastructure of the building and the fact that it's sort of been gutted now.